Good afternoon, class. I had a question about the 12.5 activity, so I thought I would get you started and realize that there are no two that are going to look the same. Everybody's will be different. Now, when I read the directions, it did specify that he wanted a station wagon or an SUV or a four-door sedan or a sports car. So I went online and looked at what was best in the 2019-2020 year for each of these categories. So for me, and nobody's going to be the same. In fact, I would like that nobody's would look like mine. So I grabbed the Volvo V90, the Mazda CX-5, the four-door sedan, the Honda Accord sports car, Porsche's 911. Then I went on, and I would do this for each one. I went on and I looked up. These are the things that I thought he was looking for, and I added in a couple of my own. You can add in more. Maybe you see more that he's looking for, or maybe there's more things that you think he needs. These are not going to be the same for everybody. So for me, he very specifically said canoe transport, gas mileage. Also, long distance was one of his requirements. I would even venture to say comfort in long distance, because some of those vehicles that can carry canoes can be pretty uncomfortable. Then I added in price. MSRP is the price of a car, and customer satisfaction, because if people hate it, I don't want it, because there's probably problems. So you decide what you think it needs. Then for this one, I went ahead and put canoe transport, yes, and that it gets 30 miles per gallon, and that this is a price, and I looked at customer satisfaction, and most of it was good. You decide how you will rate it. If it gets, so let's say that the station wagon does carry canoes, so we're going to give that a 5. And you just make these numbers up. It's up to you. The sports car is the 911, the Porsche. Nah, that is not carrying a canoe. So I'm going to give it 0 points. And let's say that four-door sedan, I didn't look these up. So let's just say that it could, but it would be not really good. And, you know, it's kind of all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But let's say this Mazda did. Now, you would have to look each of these up. And notice that when I looked them up, I put the information here. And in case you've forgotten your Excel class, remember that if you click in here and did alternate enter, then you can continue to type in that same spot, in that same cell. All right, just a reminder there. Now, let's say this gas mileage, this guy got 30 miles to a gallon, so that's super. But the SUV, let's say you got 40, okay? And let's say the four-door sedan got 25 and the sports car got less. So if the one that got the most should get the biggest number, right? So let's say the Mazda got the most. Let's say the station wagon was less. Let's say the four-door sedan was pretty good, so we're going to give it back to there. In other words, you need to look these up. You just assign the number, however you decide, okay? So let's say for the MSRP, this one was the cheapest, so we're going to give it a 5. This one was the most expensive, so we're going to go give it a 1. Once again, you got to look it all up to see. Let's say the SUV was super expensive, and let's say the four-door sedan wasn't so bad. So we're going to give that a 4. All right? Just making this up. Don't really know. And make sure these are pretty. That needs to be centered. Customer satisfaction, let's say this guy was good, this guy was awesome, this guy was, somewhere in between, and these people, it broke down all the time. I don't know. All right, so you make up the numbers. Then for the total, all you have to do is do a sum. So if you go home and hit auto sum, it should automatically select the correct stuff, and you copy it down. All right, piece of cake. Now, I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to copy it. Notice I've already typed weighted decision matrix down there, and I'm going to paste that in there. But you know, I needed a weighted area. So I'm going to insert an additional row. So let's insert a row. And let's say that for me, the fact that it carries a canoe is the number one most important thing. So I'm going to give that a 5. Gas mileage is super important to me also, but I'm going to give that a 4. Price is pretty important too, so, but not as much. So I'm going to give it a 3. And let's say customer satisfaction, let's give it a 4 also. And let's just see. So what we can do, this is going to be our weights then, correct? These are our weights for each thing. All right. So now I'm going to multiply these two together because this is super important and this is not as important. So what you want to do is you don't want to just say, okay, well, this one has a 17, well, let's get it. But, you know, it was really important to me that whatever, and you gave it the same weight. So whatever is the most important gets the biggest weight, whatever is the least important gets the smallest weight, and you decide. These numbers, you just make them up. It is totally up to you. All right, so we're going to multiply these together. Now the easiest way to multiply it is between, come up here. So instead of these numbers I just copied here, I just did it because it's easy. I'm going to do equal. And the station wagon, this is a 5, and I'm going to hit the times, and then I'm going to click on the weight, correct? And then sweet, and then I can copy this across. All right, my total is already there, and voila, piece of cake, right? And then the one with the biggest total on the weighted is the one that is you are going to recommend. And then you'll write a small synopsis down here saying I recommend this because. All right, does that sound good? I like it when you make things look professional, so things that you can do to make it look professional, you can select it, and this is a little Excel stuff. But if you come in here and do format as table, choose one, notice it says my table is headers. I'm going to say okay, and oh, that is just beautiful, but I don't want the sorting thing, so I'm going to right click and then go to table, convert to range, so that I don't have those little arrows anymore, and then I can delete these crazy little headings that it made, and isn't that just gorgeous? All right, so I hope that helps a little bit. Remember, the numbers you make up. You have to do the research, fill all that information in here, and then decide how much each thing is worth. All right, y'all have a great day.